On the day we were supposed to get our marriage license, I waited at City Hall all day. Daisy never showed. Her phone was off. That night, I saw a post from her childhood friend, Richard. Whenever I need you, you're always there. The photo was of him in a hospital gown, and the person talking to the doctor by his bedside was Daisy. When I showed up to work with 2 dark circles under my eyes, my coworker Owen teased me. "What's up? Got married yesterday and didn't even post about it? Too busy getting down to business?" He put extra emphasis on getting down to business, and the other coworkers started hooting and hollering. I pulled the celebratory candies I'd prepared out of my bag and tossed them on the table. "Help yourselves. We're celebrating me being single again." Everyone just stared at each other. The mood in the office turned awkward in an instant. I didn't want to explain. Ripping open a wound that hadn't even started to heal, that was a pain I wasn't ready to experience. I sat down at my desk, booted up my computer, and tried to start my day, but my head was in a fog. I'd waited all day, and still not a single call from Daisy. Not even an explanation. As the sun came up, I sent Daisy a text. "We're done." Then I blocked her number and all her social media. This is how it ends. I'm bowing out. A little while later, Owen sidled over, subtly glancing at my monitor. He lowered his voice. "Trouble in paradise with Daisy? If getting stood up on your wedding day counts as trouble in paradise, then there are no real problems in a relationship." I was about to answer when my name was called. "James, my office." Now, the tone sounded like she was about to bite someone's head off. The person calling me was my direct supervisor, Anna Winters. She was a powerhouse, ruthless, sharp-tongued, and the head of our department despite her young age. She had the skills, the looks, and a temper. And the temper was bigger than the looks. Even so, that didn't stop the guys in our company from trying to win her over. Not a single one had succeeded. I didn't dare hesitate. I exchanged a look with Owen and headed for Anna's office. "Ms. Winters, you wanted to see me." Anna looked up from her computer, her dark eyes radiating a deep chill. The next second, she cracked a smile, spun her monitor around to face me, and raised an eyebrow. "James, care to explain to me what these last few words in the copy mean?" I froze for a second, staring blankly at the screen. At the very end of the document, in huge letters, was the word asshole. And this was the copy I had sent to Anna 10 minutes ago. I stood there, paralyzed like a stone statue, with no idea how to explain myself. "What, you got your marriage license yesterday, so now you're planning to quit and become a stay-at-home husband?" Anna's words were laced with sarcasm, but they hit a raw nerve and snapped me back to reality. "Ms. Winters, I'm sorry. My fiancé and I broke up yesterday. I'm not in a great state of mind. I'll revise any part of the copy that's not right, and I'll keep working on it until you're satisfied." When she heard I'd broken up with someone, Anna gave me a surprised look. She didn't say another word and just told me to leave. I finally left the office after working late. It was already past 10 p.m. I'd emailed the revised copy to Anna hours ago. The only reason I stayed so late was to kill time at the office. When I got home, I saw a pair of women's high heels in the entryway. I recognized them as Daisy's. My apartment has a fingerprint lock. Even though Daisy and I didn't live together, I had added her print. She was lying on the sofa with her eyes closed, as if resting. When she saw me, she opened her eyes and sat up. She looked exhausted, as if she was waiting for me to comfort her. How ridiculous. I set my bag aside, completely ignoring her, and walked to the water cooler to get a glass of water. I took small sips. "James, are you mad at me?" she finally asked, her voice raspy. She must have been so busy taking care of Richard at the hospital that she hadn't even had time to drink water. So devoted. I swallowed the last sip of water and looked at her. "We're over." My voice sounded calm, but I knew it was only because I had exhausted every last bit of my energy. When you stop expecting anything, the pain just drains away, drop by drop. Daisy got up and walked toward me, trying to take my hand, but I deliberately pulled it away. She sighed. "James, I'm sorry I couldn't make it to City Hall yesterday. Richard had a nasty stomach bug and was admitted to the hospital. That apology was as light as a feather, like saying sorry after stepping on a stranger's foot on the subway, mainly to avoid any further trouble. I thought I could handle this calmly, but her casual attitude still managed to piss me off. So you had to give him your undivided attention, stay by his side 24/7, and you couldn't even find a minute to call me? I was going to call you, but I left in such a hurry that my phone died yesterday morning. So the hospital just doesn't have chargers? Faced with my questions, Daisy went quiet for a moment, as if she didn't want to argue. James, Richard is still in the hospital. You know, he's from a single-parent home. His family doesn't care about him. I'm the only one he can turn to. The subtext was, he's already been through so much, why can't you be more understanding? This wasn't the first time. On so many occasions, whenever Richard needed something, no matter how much I needed her at that moment, Daisy would choose Richard without a second thought. I was too tired to argue or get tangled up in it anymore. After all, a loser who voluntarily bows out can't exactly take the high ground. But admitting I was a loser was better than being trapped, constantly struggling in a relationship like this. I forced myself to calm down before speaking. Daisy, whatever is going on with you and Richard has nothing to do with me anymore. I was serious when I said we're breaking up. Please leave. I walked over and opened the door, then just stood there, looking at her. She froze, a look of confusion and helplessness on her face. Before she left, she said one last thing. Why don't you cool off for a bit? In a few days, I shut the door before she could finish. Daisy and I met on a blind date. To be honest, the moment I saw her, I thought, I have to marry this woman. She checked all my boxes. A graceful figure, a classic, gentle beauty, a kind temperament. She even spoke in a slow, measured way. And she had a great job as a college professor. After dinner, I asked for her number, and she gave it to me. Not only did she agree, but she also took me to a movie and drove me home afterward. From that day on, we started seeing each other regularly. Eventually, I was the one who confessed my feelings, and we naturally became a couple. One day, about 6 months into our relationship, I called Daisy, and a guy answered. At first, I thought I had dialed the wrong number, but then a boyish voice on the other end called out to me. Is this James? I'm Richard. Daisy's in the kitchen making me dinner. I'll have her call you back in a bit. That was the first time I heard of Richard's existence. When Daisy called me back that night, she brought him up, telling me he was the neighbor's kid who she grew up with. He'd been away at college and had just moved back. Daisy said it so casually, but my gut told me there was more to the story. The next time we went on a date, I met Richard. He was a slender, handsome kid with a sweet mouth. The first thing he did was compliment me on how good-looking I was. He had come with Daisy, and from the moment they walked in until they were standing in front of me, his arm was linked with hers, and he showed no intention of letting go. I smiled, calmly reached out, and pulled Daisy to sit beside me. I looked him up and down and deliberately asked her, "How come you never mentioned such a handsome little neighbor before?" Richard sat down across from us and, hearing my question, jumped in to clarify. Daisy was probably afraid you'd get the wrong idea about us, James. A dead giveaway. I let out a short laugh. Oh, I doubt that. Richard, you look much younger than us. Your sister Daisy might be into robbing the cradle, but I don't think she'd go for someone quite that young. Richard smiled and looked me straight in the eye. Daisy told me you're the same age and I'm only 5 years younger. So by that logic, I'm the perfect age to be cradle robbed. He might as well have just said he wanted Daisy to make a move on him. I decided to be direct. So, do you like older women? Or do you just like Daisy? The next second, Richard turned to Daisy with a wounded look and started complaining right in front of me. See, Daisy? I told you I shouldn't have come. Now James has the wrong idea. Daisy had been looking down at the menu and hadn't been paying attention to our conversation. When Richard called her name, she looked up. I already told James you're my neighbor's little brother. Don't worry, he won't misunderstand. Even though Richard was deliberately trying to show me that his relationship with Daisy was special, her attitude was clear. He was the neighbor's kid, and I was the official boyfriend. I didn't need to keep sparring with him and make things awkward. After dinner, I made an excuse that Daisy and I had other plans, so she told Richard to head home on his own. Before he left, Richard shot Daisy a reluctant glance. When he saw her attention wasn't on him, he walked away dejectedly. That night, a user named Eman sent me a friend request with the note Richard. I didn't really want to add him, but I had a feeling the kid was up to no good with Daisy, so I accepted. After adding him, I was scrolling through my feed and saw he had just posted something. There was no caption, just a picture of a cow eating grass. I woke up just as the sky was beginning to lighten. I'd spent the whole night dreaming about Daisy and Richard. A chaotic mess, just as frustrating as reality. Sleep wasn't happening, so I got up to wash my face. I looked in the mirror and saw a haggard man staring back, looking exactly like a jilted lover. Since Daisy and I were over, it was time to start my new life. An hour later, seeing my handsome, well-dressed reflection in the mirror, my mood inexplicably improved. I got to the office early, before any of my colleagues. There was a delivery bag on my desk containing a sandwich and a hot milk. Daisy used to order me breakfast sometimes, a sandwich and hot milk. This was undoubtedly her attempt to make up with me. But this time, I wasn't going to be swayed by such a small gesture. I picked up the bag, walked over to the trash can, and threw it in. After a satisfying thud, I clapped my hands and was about to head back to my desk when I turned around and saw Anna Winters leaning against her office door, watching me with an unreadable expression. "Morning, Ms. Winters." I put on my best cheerful face. Anna pointed a finger at the trash can. Taking out the trash? I didn't understand what she meant. I glanced at the can. Everything was inside. Nothing spilled. Turning back, I looked at her cautiously. "Ms. Winters, if you have any trash, I can throw it out for you too." Anna let out a cold laugh. Throwing out trash is one thing, but what's the big idea throwing out my breakfast? Her breakfast? Could it be that sandwich was? I immediately spun around, fished the delivery bag out of the trash, and saw that, unfortunately, the hot milk had spilled everywhere, soaking the sandwich wrapper and the inside of the bag. And that's when I finally saw the order information on the side of the bag. Clearly said, "Ms. Winters." Was I blind a minute ago? Not only did I miss the order slip, but I just arrogantly assumed it was from Daisy. Steeling myself, I forced a smile and looked up to admit my mistake. "Ms. Winters, I'm so sorry. I thought that was my order. I'll go buy you a new one right now. I'll be right back." Before Anna could reply, I grabbed my phone and bolted. Unfortunately, it was the morning rush, and the elevators were packed. Our office was on a high floor, so I had no choice but to take the stairs. After finally making it downstairs and crossing the street to the bakery, my phone buzzed with a text from Anna. "Get 20 of the same breakfast." 20? The number made my wallet ache, but I didn't dare refuse. I immediately asked the staff to bag up 20 orders. When the bakery clerk and I walked into our department carrying 20 breakfast sets, Anna was, for the first time ever, holding a morning meeting in the main office area. When she saw me, she glanced at her watch, a hint of schadenfreude in her voice. "James, you're late." All my colleagues turned to look at me in unison, their eyes filled with pity. If I wasn't mistaken, it was definitely pity. Being late meant a pay deduction, which was unavoidable, but they didn't need to all stare at me like that. A bad feeling crept over me. Still, I brought a breakfast set over to Anna first. "Ms. Winters, your breakfast," I said respectfully. Anna took it and then addressed the other colleagues. "James bought breakfast for everyone. Don't be shy, help yourselves." Then she gave me a half smile, turned, and went back into her office. With that crisis averted, I collapsed into my chair, feeling like I just survived a disaster. Owen poked me. "What was that all about?" I rubbed my aching legs wearily. The price of my own stupidity. Who else would be dumb enough to throw the boss's breakfast in the trash? Owen gave me a look that said, "You're one of a kind," then delivered the bad news. Anna just announced in the meeting that starting this month, anyone who is late 3 or more times has to treat the entire department to a big dinner. My right eyelid twitched violently. I finally understood why my colleagues were looking at me with such pity. Including today, this was my 3rd time being late this month. And it was the last day of the month. What rotten luck. The dinner I owed my colleagues was set for Friday night. I figured since the weekend was coming up, everyone could stay out a little later and really enjoy themselves. I chose a Korean barbecue place. Crisp lettuce wrapped around sizzling, greasy meat, washed down with beer. After a 5-day work week, it was enough to bring a touch of real life to a group of office elites. But the one thing ruining this perfect moment was that Anna was sitting right next to me. My recent blunders had instilled a deep-seated fear of her in me. I was terrified I'd accidentally offend this goddess again, and she'd find a new way to torture me. Compared to my anxiety, Anna was perfectly at ease. She even managed to eat barbecue with a certain elegance. I'm not a big drinker. It all depends on my mood. Although I had been deliberately ignoring the pain of the breakup for the past few days, after a few glasses of beer, a wave of melancholy crept out from every corner of my body and washed over me. A blurriness began to gather in my eyes, and a single hot tear rolled down my cheek, landing right in my beer. I quickly raised my hand to wipe away the evidence, afraid someone would see. But a tissue was suddenly handed to me, followed by Anna's teasing voice. I only made you buy everyone dinner. It's not that bad, is it? Honestly, I really didn't want to lose control, but for some reason, my emotions just burst forth. My eyes turned red, and the tears started flowing freely. Beside me, Anna hadn't expected such a strong reaction and quickly grabbed more tissues. Through my blurry, tear-filled vision, I stumbled toward the restroom. I stayed in the restroom for a good 10 minutes before I finally got my emotions under control. When I came out, Anna was waiting for me. She was holding a long, thin cigarette but hadn't lit it. Seeing me, she tossed it into a nearby trash can and walked over. "James, are you okay?" I forced a smile and tried to explain. "I'm fine, Ms. Winters." The smoke from the grill just got in my eyes. Anna glanced at me and called my bluff without a shred of politeness. That smile is fake, and that excuse is terrible. She always went straight for the jugular. I just laughed awkwardly. She reached out, grabbed my wrist, and started leading me back. The fact that you can still play dumb means you're not that drunk. Actually, I was already a bit wobbly on my feet. Figured Anna was holding on to me so I wouldn't fall. Thinking about it, she was actually quite considerate. Her fair, slender fingers felt warm against my wrist, and a strange warmth spread through my chest. My fear of her lessened a little. In the time we were gone, our colleagues had clearly had a lot more to drink. The atmosphere was much livelier than before, with everyone toasting each other. Anna had let go of my hand before we got back. As soon as we sat down, a few colleagues came over to toast her. At the office, she was the boss, but out here, without the corporate constraints and with alcohol involved, people weren't as intimidated. They came at her in waves, and even Owen joined in to give her a toast. Anna could really hold her liquor. Even though it was just beer, the sheer number of people was overwhelming. After a full round, her face was only slightly flushed. Watching her secretly from the side, I silently gave her a thumbs up. That was impressive. Perhaps she was feeling hot from the drinks, because Anna leaned back in her chair, closed her eyes, and reached up to unbutton her shirt. She undid the top 3 buttons, revealing a line that stretched from her chin, down her long neck, to her delicate, fair collarbones. I was mesmerized, my breath catching in my throat. Just then, Anna opened her eyes and caught me staring. A wicked smile played on her lips as she silently mouthed a question that made me want to dig a hole and hide. She mouthed like what you see? Knock, 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 knock. The annoying sound pounded in my ears. Even though I had wrapped myself completely in my blanket, the noise stubbornly vibrated against my eardrums. I threw off the covers, shot up in bed, and, fueled by a full dose of morning rage, stormed over and yanked open the door. "What's with all the knocking? Don't you know people are trying to sleep?" Daisy stood at the door, her hand frozen in midair, staring at me in surprise. Our eyes met. In her shocked expression, I saw my reflection. Clothes disheveled, hair a mess, face full of anger. It was a complete departure from the composed, proper image I always maintained in front of her. Before, I always made sure to be perfectly groomed and dressed before seeing her, just to keep up that good impression. This was the first time she had ever seen me like this. But it didn't matter anymore. Daisy quickly composed herself, her expression returning to its usual gentle calm. James, I couldn't reach you by phone, so I had to come here. But the fingerprint lock wouldn't open. Yeah, I deleted it, I said curtly. Can I come in and talk to you? And if I say no, then we'll talk right here. From her tone, it was clear we were having this conversation whether I liked it or not. But if we talked at the door, more people would see me looking like this. After a quick mental calculation, I relented. Come on in. I walked over to the sofa and sat down. Daisy followed me in and closed the door. In the past, whenever she came over, I would joyfully prepare all sorts of fruits and snacks for her. Now, I couldn't even be bothered to tell her to sit down. Daisy pulled up a chair and sat across from me, looking at me calmly. James, it's been several days. Your anger should have cooled by now. Her words made me laugh out loud. Daisy, Professor Grant, surely your reading comprehension isn't this bad, right? I said we broke up. Do you understand what a breakup is? It means goodbye, see you later, we never speak again. Seeing my firm stance, Daisy's expression finally showed a flicker of emotion. Is it just because I didn't show up that day to get the license? She still didn't get it. And honestly, I didn't get it either. If I was so unimportant to her, why was she so unwilling to let go after I had already decided to leave? Daisy, do you love me? I finally asked the cliché question, but only after we had broken up. I looked at her intently, not wanting to miss a single flicker of emotion. Daisy's brow furrowed. She remained silent. It was clearly a difficult question for her to answer. Or maybe she was trying to think of an answer that would satisfy both of us. But I didn't want to hear it anymore. Forget it. It's obvious you don't love me. Let's stop kidding ourselves. I said it lightly, but my heart was bleeding. 2 years, and in the end, it was all just my own wishful thinking. James, just as she started to speak, her phone vibrated. The caller ID showed it was Richard. She glanced at me, hesitated for a moment, then answered. Richard's boyish voice immediately came through the speaker. Daisy, I'm so hungry. Can you come make me dinner? His tone was intimate and natural. Not like me. I was always carefully trying to please her, always afraid my requests would be unreasonable and annoy her. Daisy gave a few non-committal replies and hung up. She was about to speak again, but I cut her off. Richard needs you. You should go. Don't keep him waiting. James, Richard is just like a little brother to me, she repeated once again. Suddenly, she seemed so fake. Wasn't she tired of playing this game of self-deception? I decided it was time to tear down the facade. Daisy, ask yourself, do you really see Richard as a little brother? And does he really see you as a big sister? You know, there's nothing wrong with dating a younger guy. Perhaps my tone was too aggressive, because Daisy froze for a moment. When she snapped out of it, she gave a bitter smile. James, I never realized you could be so sharp-tongued. People have many sides. Before, I only wanted to show you my best one. Now I'm tired. Tired of pretending. Actually, I like this side of you. Feels more real. I didn't want to drag this out any longer. Daisy, let's just end it here. After saying that, I turned away and looked out the window. The sun was shining, and the sky was a pale blue. I heard the sound of the door opening, and then the room fell completely silent. Her politeness and grace were consistent to the very end. 7 Daisy is allergic to seafood, while I love oysters. In the past, for all our dates, I always chose restaurants based on her preferences. It had been a long time since I'd had seafood. Now, I could finally satisfy my craving. At the seafood restaurant, I chose a corner table, quiet and with a view of the street. While waiting for my food, I happened to spot a familiar figure sitting diagonally across from me. Anna? What was she doing here? Last night, after she caught me staring at her, I was too embarrassed to stay by her side. I squeezed in with Owen and spent the rest of the night drinking and chatting with other colleagues. After dinner, I paid the bill and escaped in a taxi. I figured a weekend without seeing her would ease the awkwardness by Monday. I never expected to run into her just 1 day later. Luckily, It seemed like Anna hadn't seen me. Today, she was dressed in casual clothes. Compared to the mature professionalism of her usual suits, the casual wear gave her a vibrant, youthful beauty. But she was wearing sunglasses indoors, giving off a distinct don't talk to me vibe. Her brow was furrowed, and she looked impatient, constantly checking her watch. She must be waiting for someone. Since she hadn't seen me, that was for the best. It would be bad if she thought I was following her. I secretly scooted further into my seat, using the booth across from me as cover. I came out for a nice meal and ended up feeling like a thief. I groaned. Inwardly, "Hello, are you Anna Winters?" A pleasant male voice spoke up. This must be the person Anna was waiting for. I heard Anna give a cold a stark contrast to the man's enthusiasm. I snuck a peek. Anna had a cocky posture and hadn't taken off her sunglasses. I could only see the man's back. He was wearing a well-tailored suit and had a tall build. Just from behind, you could tell he was probably handsome. The man sat down and spoke apologetically. "Sorry, traffic was bad. I'm a little late." Anna gave another terse Then she added, "Good thing you're not my employee." I silently added to myself, if you were her employee and were late 3 times, you'd be buying the whole department dinner. Perhaps sensing Anna's cold attitude, the man laughed and introduced himself gracefully. "Hi, my name is Ryan. When your mother introduced us, she mentioned you weren't much for small talk. But for a corporate executive, that's normal. If you laugh too much, you lose your authority." Hearing this, Anna suddenly became more talkative. "So did my mom not mention any of my other flaws? When you're setting someone up, aren't you supposed to talk about their good qualities?" Ryan asked, confused. Anna replied, "But isn't honesty the best policy?" Then, she said with brutal honesty, "Aside from being beautiful, I'm basically all flaws." I had just taken a sip of lemonade, and Anna's comment made me spit it all out. This woman had some serious nerve. Luckily, Ryan wasn't drinking anything, or Anna's face would have been soaked. I suddenly felt a pang of sympathy for this handsome guy named Ryan. What bad luck to be set up on a blind date with Anna. They'd only exchanged a few sentences, and every single one was a conversation killer. If it were me, I would have already grabbed my bag and left. But Ryan had a good temper. Not only was he not angry, but he even smiled. "Ms. Winters, you're saying that on purpose, aren't you? Your goal is to provoke me so I'll leave on my own." Her plan exposed, Anna didn't seem surprised at all. "Since you've figured it out, that saves us some trouble. Order whatever you want. Consider it compensation for your wasted trip." Ryan wasn't giving up. "I know you hate meeting guys this way. To be honest, I don't like it either. But when I saw your picture, I thought you were my type, so I came. You could try to get to know me. Maybe I'm your type too. Being beautiful really makes a difference." If Anna were an ordinary-looking woman, she probably wouldn't be getting this kind of treatment. I silently marveled at the guy's persistence and peeked out a little to see Anna's reaction. But as luck would have it, our eyes met. At some point, she had taken off her sunglasses. The moment she saw me, I noticed her usually cold eyes light up for an instant. I quickly ducked back, scooting even further to the side until I felt safely hidden. Only then did I dare to breathe properly. I didn't dare eavesdrop on their conversation anymore. But Anna wasn't going to let me off that easily. She got up from her seat and walked over. Seeing me hunched over like a quail trying to hide from a predator, a wicked smile spread across her face. The next second, she reached out and pulled me up. While my brain was still blank, she was already holding my hand and standing in front of Ryan. "Sorry, but I actually have a boyfriend." I stared at her in shock, about to protest, but a sharp squeeze on my hand silenced me. Anna was threatening me. Ryan was clearly skeptical. He looked me up and down, his brow furrowing. "If you have a boyfriend, why didn't you tell your mother?" Without batting an eye, Anna started spinning a wild tale. "My mom doesn't approve of us. She's been trying to break us up, so she forced me to go on this blind date. But his family has already accepted our engagement gift, and we've even set a wedding date." I glanced down at myself and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. As Anna had hoped, Ryan swore, "You people are crazy," grabbed his coat, and left with a grim face. In a great mood, Anna sat back down, snapped her fingers to call the waiter over, and seeing me still frozen in place, she poked me with her fingertip. "What, did someone put you in a trance?" The waiter had already come over, smiling. "Ma'am, how can I help you?" Anna pointed at me. "Do you have anyone here who can break a spell?" The waiter looked at me, confused, clearly not understanding what she meant. To avoid causing the waiter any unnecessary trouble, I sat down in the seat across from her. Resting my chin in my hand, I stared at her, waiting for her to repay the favor. After she ordered, the waiter left. Anna glanced up at me, a slight curve to her lips, looking as if she had already seen right through me. "All right, spit it out. What do you want as a reward?" I suddenly got excited. "Anything?" Anna just shot me a look from the corner of her eye, and my bravado instantly deflated. Helping a leader solve her problems is the duty of a subordinate. How could I possibly ask for anything in return? I laid on the flattery thick, completely against my conscience. Anna clearly enjoyed it. She smiled faintly and offered me some reassurance. "Don't worry, I'll make it worth your while." After we left the seafood restaurant, I was about to say goodbye. But Anna said that if I had nothing to do that afternoon, she hoped I could help her pick out a gift. When your boss invites you, you can't really say no. Besides, I had nothing to do at home, so I agreed. I had assumed Anna was buying a gift for a client, but it turned out to be for her father. "Is it a birthday present for your dad?" Anna was at a counter, focused on the watches inside. Hearing my question, she answered without looking up. "I'm buying it to save my own skin. After I sabotaged that blind date today, my dad is going to kill me." When she mentioned her father, all of Anna's high and mighty attitude vanished. She sounded more like a kid who'd gotten into trouble and was afraid of being punished at home. But to make Anna this scared, her father must be quite the character. That guy Ryan, who Anna had deliberately driven away, could be considered lucky to have avoided becoming his son-in-law. I wondered who the unlucky guy would end up being. The thought made me laugh out loud. I looked up to find Anna staring at me with pursed lips. "James, I asked you to help me pick a gift. Focus. Okay? Okay. Okay," I said, raising my hands in a gesture of surrender. Anna finally looked back down. I quickly focused my attention on the luxury watches. "James?" A familiar male voice sent a shiver down my spine. I didn't even have to turn around to know who it was. I tried to pretend I hadn't heard, but the clear sound of footsteps told me he was already walking over. As expected, Daisy was with him. Richard's hand was tightly intertwined with Daisy's, his face beaming with a happy, sweet smile. They looked exactly like a couple in the first flush of a new romance. When she saw my eyes land on their clasped hands, Daisy instinctively tried to pull away, but Richard squeezed her hand, and she stopped moving. It looked like they had officially moved past the pseudo-sibling relationship and graduated to lovers. "James, I can't believe I ran into you here. This is great. I was going to ask you out for a meal to thank you. By bowing out, you made it possible for me and Daisy to be together." Richard stood before me like a conqueror, arrogantly declaring his victory. Compared to Richard's smugness, Daisy seemed more subdued. But when she met my mocking gaze, her eyes flickered with unease. After all, she had just been at my apartment yesterday morning, begging me to get back together. Today, she was with someone else. That was a surprisingly fast turnaround. In a public place like this, I hadn't planned on saying anything harsh, but looking at Richard's provocative expression, I changed my mind. I wasn't going to let him flaunt his new relationship in my face and walk away satisfied. Even if I couldn't change anything, I could at least make him squirm. Just as I was about to speak, an arm suddenly wrapped around my waist. I turned in surprise to see Anna standing beside me, smiling, in an intimate embrace. "Honey, is this the ex-girlfriend who dumped you? Compared to me, she's definitely a downgrade." Anna's single sentence made both of their faces change, especially Daisy. For the first time, a crack appeared on her usually calm and gentle face. She pulled her hand away from Richard's and took 2 steps forward to stand in front of me. Her expression a complex mix I had never seen before. "So she's the reason you broke up with me?" The reason you wouldn't take me back even after I begged you? Daisy's words didn't faze me much, but they made Richard's face turn deathly pale. He bit his lower lip, looking at Daisy's back with a pained expression. Seeing their reactions, a flicker of satisfaction rose in my heart, but I wasn't going to distort the truth. Daisy, you know exactly why we broke up. I want a love that is wholehearted, with no room for a third person. My words were pointed, and Richard's face grew even paler. Daisy stood frozen, staring at me blankly, silent. Seeing Daisy just staring at me, Richard couldn't hold back. He came forward, trying to take her hand, but she dodged him. Helpless, he grabbed the hem of her shirt and said pitifully, "Daisy, James has a new girlfriend. Let's go. We shouldn't bother them." Anna, who had been watching the show, suddenly let out a cold laugh. She leaned in closer, her lips brushing against my ear. "Honey, it looks like your ex is still hung up on you. I guess I'll have to keep a close eye on you. You know what they say, you can't be too careful with thieves around." She didn't finish the sentence, but the meaning was clear. At such a close distance, Anna's lips were almost touching my ear. My heart pounded, and my face flushed red. Daisy saw the whole thing, and her usually indifferent eyes were now filled with jealousy. Other shoppers in the store started casting curious glances our way. Some of the nosier ones were already whispering, trying to piece together the story. I had nothing to hide, but some people were clearly feeling guilty. The surrounding whispers and stares made Richard anxious, as if he was afraid of being exposed as the third party who broke up a relationship. His voice was already choked with emotion. "Daisy, let's go, please." Daisy gave me one last look, then, like a soulless puppet, let Richard pull her away. Once they were gone, I deflated like a punctured balloon. I had expected Daisy and Richard to get together, but she had just been at my place begging me to reconcile yesterday. Today, she was brazenly shopping with him, hand in hand. If it hadn't been for Anna's deliberate provocation, she probably would have just let Richard show off in front of me and then left. Seeing me silent for a long time, Anna patted her own shoulder. "Well, need a shoulder to cry on?" I bit my lip and shook my head. "Ms. Winters, I'm sorry. I can't help you pick out a gift anymore. I want to go home." Just as I was about to say goodbye to Anna and head home, she gave me two options. Go home alone to lick my wounds, or go to the beach with a beautiful woman to feel the ocean breeze. She told me to pick one. I chose the latter. I had imagined the beach at night would be nothing but the salty sea breeze, the endless crashing of waves, and a vast, dead darkness. I never expected it to be so lively. To make money, businesses had set up an electronic music and beer festival on the beach. Young men and women in skimpy clothing crowded around a makeshift stage, swaying their youthful bodies to the passionate music and dazzling lights. Not far from the stage was a food court. The food court was filled with tables for customers. The enticing aroma of grilled skewers wafted through the air with the sea breeze. Spicy red crawfish, steamed crabs, all kinds of beers, and cold drinks were on display. My gloomy mood was unexpectedly lifted by the lively atmosphere. I pointed to an empty table ahead. "Ms. Winters, how about we drink until we drop?" Anna gave me a skeptical look and drawled, "James, don't push yourself if you can't handle it." I snorted. "I can't speak for other days, but tonight, I'm sure I can." Anna shrugged and sat down with me at the empty table. I called a waiter over to order food, then asked for 6 large mugs of draft beer. I looked at Anna. "Is that enough?" Anna gave me a mocking look. "This is your idea of drinking until you drop? Isn't 6 mugs a little light?" My hand trembled, but I steeled myself and told the waiter to add 6 more. It turned out Anna's mockery was justified. By my 3rd mug, my head was already starting to feel fuzzy. I don't know if it was the beer being stronger than usual or my mood making me an easy drunk, but I felt myself starting to float. I shot up from my seat and staggered toward the stage. Anna quickly followed and steadied me. "James, where are you going?" I grinned at her and pointed at the bustling crowd ahead. "I'm going dancing." The high-energy music made my body start to sway uncontrollably. Beside me, Anna stood with a stern expression, looking completely out of place among the wildly dancing crowd. I don't know which genius came up with the saying liquid courage, but right now I wanted to praise them. It was so damn true. Because, fueled by alcohol, I started to get handsy with Anna. Not in a sleazy way to take advantage of her, but just to get her to dance with me. The music was too loud for her to hear me, so I leaned in close to her ear, my breath smelling of beer, and said, "Ms. Winters, let's dance." Words weren't enough, so I reached out, took her hands, and started pulling her into a dance. Anna reluctantly let me pull her along, and her body slowly started to move to the music. She was already a standout, and when she was standing still with a cold expression, she was intimidating. But now that she was dancing, a wild, untamed energy surrounded her like a natural aura. The guys who had been dancing nearby slowly started to gather around her, their glances and movements all subtle attempts to flirt with her, and I was gradually being pushed to the side. One bold guy even came up behind her and was about to wrap his arms around her waist. But Anna sidestepped him. Beauty is a lure, and seeing her being coveted by others made me surprisingly angry. I pushed through the crowd of men surrounding her, walked right up, took her hand, and led her away from the stage. Behind us, the music faded. Anna asked quizzically, "Done dancing?" I didn't turn back, my voice sharp from the alcohol. "We're done." She didn't ask any more questions and just let me lead her on. I thought I heard a soft, fleeting laugh from behind me. I didn't stop until we reached a deserted stretch of sand. I let go of Anna's hand and collapsed onto the beach, muttering, "Yeah, it's quiet here." Anna sat down next to me. The waves lapped gently at the shore just a short distance away. The moon seemed especially big and round tonight, hanging high in the sky, casting a soft, cool light. The scene reminded me of an ancient poem. I cupped my hands around my mouth like a megaphone and yelled at the sea. A bright moon rises from the sea, across the horizon. I don't know if the alcohol had damaged my brain, but I couldn't for the life of me remember the next line. I turned my head to ask Anna if she knew. I never imagined we were so close. As I turned my head, she turned hers, a smile lingering in her eyes. My lips brushed against hers. They were soft and cool, but she didn't pull away. Her dark, bright eyes, reflecting the silvery moonlight, held a captivating danger that made me want to lose myself completely. The next second, I wrapped my arms around her neck and kissed her hard. A gust of sea breeze blew past, and I shivered, my head clearing slightly. I abruptly broke off our passionate embrace. My mouth tasted of alcohol and Anna. She frowned, seemingly annoyed that I had stopped. The dizzy feeling washed over me again. I stumbled to my feet and started walking toward the parking lot. I dug my fingernails into my palm, relying on the dull pain to keep myself awake. Had I just escaped one failed relationship only to throw myself into another hopeless one? I knew what kind of person Anna was. The distance between us was more than just a little. If I let things go on, I would be the only one who got hurt in the end. By the time I reached the car, Anna had already unlocked the doors. This time, I didn't get in the passenger seat. I chose the back. Anna gave me a long, deep look in the rearview mirror, then looked down and started fiddling with her phone. "Hope Gardens, thank you." After giving the name of my apartment complex, I turned to look out the window. It was late at night, and everything was quiet, except for the dim yellow glow of the streetlights. In the distance, on the beach, the party was still going strong, as if people wanted to stretch the night out indefinitely. But I was in no mood to appreciate it. A long time passed, and the car didn't move. My neck was getting stiff from being turned to one side for so long. "The driver will be here in 20 minutes. If you're tired, you can take a nap." Anna's voice cut through the silence, answering my unspoken question. She had been drinking too, so of course she couldn't drive. I had completely forgotten about that. I murmured a soft okay, turned my stiff neck back, and closed my eyes. When I woke up, the car was parked steadily at the entrance of my apartment complex. A strange man was in the driver's seat, his eyes closed and his breathing even. He must have been sleeping. He was probably the driver Anna had hired. Anna was in the passenger seat, her eyes also closed. Quietly checked my phone. It was already 4 a.m. Not wanting to wake them, I gently opened the car door, trying to leave without a sound. But Anna woke up anyway. Or maybe she had just been pretending to sleep, because the moment my hand touched the door handle, she opened her door and got out first. She stood in my way, foiling my escape plan. I kept my head down, staring at the tiles in front of my shoes. "Ms. Winters, thank you for taking me home. It's late, you should go home." I was too guilty to look at her. "Want me to walk you up?" Her voice was a little hoarse. "No, that's okay, I can manage." After saying that, I dodged around her and jogged into the complex. When I heard no one following me, I gradually slowed my pace. A few minutes later, I heard the sound of a car engine starting, and the car slowly drove away. I let out a sigh of relief and finally dared to look back. The spot where Anna's car had been parked was now empty. My heart felt strangely empty, too. I gave a self-deprecating laugh and told myself, "James, a guy like you could never get a girl like her." I had never come home this late before, so when I pressed the elevator button several times and got no response, I didn't know if building management had turned it off to save power or if it was broken. But I had no choice but to climb the stairs. Luckily, I didn't live on too high a floor. Unfortunately, many of the lights in the stairwell were broken, and several floors were pitch black. I had to use my phone's flashlight to see. When I finally reached my floor and stepped out of the stairwell, I jumped. There was someone sitting in front of my door. The motion-activated light flickered on, illuminating the person's face. It was Daisy. I let out a long breath, trying to calm my racing heart. When Daisy saw me, she used the wall to shakily pull herself to her feet. "James, why are you home so late?" I glanced at her sideways. "You've been drinking?" She didn't deny it, just nodded quietly. In the 2 years we were together, Daisy never touched a drop of alcohol. She must have been so happy to be with Richard that she had to celebrate with a drink. The thought made me purse my lips dismissively. "Could you please move? I need to get into my apartment." Daisy's usually neat hair was messy and fell across her face. Her clear eyes were now bloodshot. She blocked the door, her voice almost pleading. "James, that woman today, is she really your new girlfriend?" If she had looked at me like this in the past, my heart would have broken. But now I felt nothing. I just wanted her to leave so I could go home and sleep. "Yes, she's my girlfriend. You have your answer. Can I go home now?" Daisy's face was etched with a painful disbelief. She whispered my name, then suddenly pulled me into her arms, hugging me tightly. Her voice trembled as she begged, "James, please don't leave me. I can't live without you." This belated display of affection didn't move me at all. In fact, it just disgusted me. I tried to struggle out of her embrace, but she held on too tight. "Daisy, let go of me." She didn't seem to hear me, lost in her own emotions, muttering to herself, "James, you're the only one I love. What you saw today wasn't real." Richard's family was forcing him to go on a blind date and he didn't want to, so he asked me to pretend to be his girlfriend. So that was it. But even knowing the truth, I felt no stirrings in my heart. If anything, I wanted to escape even more. "Daisy, I'm gonna count to 3. If you don't let go, don't blame me for what happens." Not only did Daisy not let go, but she leaned in to try and kiss me. I lifted my knee and drove it hard into her stomach. Ugh! With a muffled groan, Daisy finally released me, crumbling to the ground in pain. The doorway was clear. I seized the opportunity, unlocked the door, slipped inside, and slammed it shut behind me. After the pain subsided, Daisy started pounding on the door again. "James, open the door. I was wrong. We can go get our marriage license tomorrow. Okay?" The feeling of loving someone is real, and so is the feeling of not loving them anymore. I rubbed my temples and pulled out my phone to call Richard. The person on the other end was clearly woken from a deep sleep, his voice thick with unconcealed anger. "Who is this? Don't you know what time it is?" I said coldly, "Richard, it's me, James. Daisy is drunk outside my apartment. Come and get her." After giving him the message, I hung up. About half an hour later, a panting Richard appeared at my door. He kicked the door a few times and yelled in frustration, "Daisy, this guy is heartless. You're in this state and he won't even let you in." He doesn't have you in his heart at all. Come with me. After a bit more struggling, Richard finally managed to drag Daisy away. I got up from the living room, went back to my bedroom, threw myself on the bed, and fell into a deep sleep. When I woke up, the sun was high in the sky. I fumbled for my phone and checked the time. It was 1 p.m. I had a few missed calls. I called Owen back and told him I was sick. Then I contacted HR and took a week of sick leave. I didn't go to work, and there was no word from Anna. Then again, what happened that night was my move. I was the one who started it, and I was the one who stopped it. It had nothing to do with her. What was I even hoping for? I booked myself a ticket to Miami to clear my head and escape the troubles of the city. After arriving in Miami, I bought a local SIM card and turned off my old one. The ocean in Miami had a clarity that other cities lacked. The days of feeling the sea breeze and eating seafood were carefree and relaxing. But as I lay sunbathing on the beach, whenever someone walked by, I would inadvertently look up. Seeing a stranger's face, I would look away again. If I saw someone with a side profile or figure that resembled Anna's, I would stare for a few extra seconds. But each time, after looking, my heart would feel even emptier. When I returned to my city, the weather was foul. The entire city was drenched in a downpour. I was stuck at the airport for a long time before I finally managed to hail a taxi when the rain let up a bit. My apartment complex didn't allow outside vehicles, so the car stopped at the gate. But just then, the rain started pouring down again. I had just gotten out and opened my umbrella when a strong gust of wind bent the frame, and the rain poured down on me, soaking me to the bone in an instant. My luggage was still in the trunk. The rain was so heavy that the driver wouldn't get out. He just sat in the car and popped the trunk for me to get my own bag. I just folded my useless umbrella, opened the trunk, and was about to grab my suitcase when another umbrella suddenly appeared over my head. At first, I thought the driver had a change of heart and had come out to help me. But when I looked up, I saw Anna's beautiful face. What are you doing here? I was so surprised and strangely thrilled that my voice trembled. She didn't answer my question, just handed me the umbrella she was holding. Get your suitcase and go home first. In the heavy rain, it really wasn't a good place to talk. I pulled my suitcase out, and she held the umbrella over both of us, then raised an eyebrow at me. Which way? You lead. The umbrella Anna brought was large and sturdy, enough to cover both of us, but the wind still whipped at us from all sides. Except for our shoulders and heads, the rest of our bodies were dripping wet. By the time we got to my apartment, we were both soaked through. I told Anna to go take a hot shower first, but she insisted I go. I couldn't win against her, so I took the fastest shower of my life and then gave her the bathroom. After Anna went in, I had a problem. Her clothes were completely wet and unwearable, but I didn't have any women's clothes. What was I going to give her to wear? Fortunately, I remembered I had a new bath towel I had just bought. I found it and passed it to her through a crack in the door when she was done. When she came out of the bathroom, I finally understood the true meaning of the phrase living, breathing sensuality. The bath towel was a men's size and wrapped around Anna's body. The soft fabric outlined her graceful curves, barely covering the essential parts. Her exquisite figure, her skin as fair as jade. The sight made my blood rush. I felt something trickling from my nose. I wiped it with my hand. It was a nosebleed. Anna laughed out loud but still handed me a tissue. I took the tissue and rushed into the bathroom, turning on the tap and splashing cold water on my forehead. I needed to calm down. But the instigator of all this, Anna, followed me in. She leaned against the doorframe, and the already small bathroom suddenly felt suffocating. I felt like I couldn't breathe. James, you're running a little hot. You might need to cool off. It wasn't enough for her to stand there and watch the show. She had to fan the flames. I looked up to glare at her, but I saw that the towel wrapped around her had loosened with her movement and was about to slip off. I quickly tried to turn my head away, but as I turned, I bumped into the bathroom cabinet. My foot slipped, and I started to fall backward. With lightning-fast reflexes, Anna grabbed me and pulled me back. I fell into her embrace. The desire in my heart surged like a giant wave, threatening to swallow my sanity. I looked up, searching Anna's eyes for a hint of rejection, but was completely drowned by the kiss she planted on me. This time, she started it. The storm outside and inside finally subsided. As my head cleared, I started to regret it. I thought a week was enough time to adjust my mindset for seeing Anna again, but her sudden appearance had just made things worse. Right now, Anna was lying next to me. I knew she wasn't asleep. I had no idea what she was thinking. I turned my head slightly, greedily stealing glances at her profile in the darkness. Her sharp features seemed even more defined and striking in the shadows. After a long silence, I spoke first. When we wake up tomorrow, I'll pretend this never happened. The words were cold and dismissive, like a classic love 'em and leave 'em jerk. But only I knew how much my heart ached. It was better for me to push her away now than to hear her say it was just a spur-of-the-moment thing tomorrow. Anna let out a cold laugh, leaned over, and found my lips with unerring accuracy. Just as I was getting lost in the moment, she bit my lip hard and then pulled away. The metallic taste of blood and the dull pain on my lip infuriated me. "Anna, are you crazy?" Being yelled at by me didn't seem to bother Anna at all. In fact, she laughed. "James, I haven't been sane for a while now. First you said you didn't have a girlfriend, then you disappeared without a word, and now you sleep with me and want to pretend nothing happened. You're a jerk." Anna's string of accusations left me stunned. Was she talking about me? What did you just say? I needed her to repeat that. I said you're a jerk. The part before that. You sleep with me and want to pretend nothing happened. Before that. What do you mean? First you said you didn't have a girlfriend. Explain that to me. Anna turned her back to me, refusing to talk. Only after I pressed her repeatedly did she finally, reluctantly, speak. "I saw you the day you interviewed for the company. I was in the elevator standing right behind you. I heard you talking on the phone with someone, laughing like no one else was around. The person on the other end must have asked if you were nervous about the interview, because you said you weren't. You said the interviewers were just a bunch of short pineapples and small potatoes in your eyes. Why would you be scared? But after you hung up, I saw you wiping your sweaty palms with a tissue and taking deep breaths. I thought, this is an interesting guy, and I took a closer look at you. You were so nervous you even got off on the wrong floor. You realized your mistake and ran back, and I was the one who pressed the button for you. Later, I was surprised to find out you were applying for our department. When I saw you in the waiting area, I decided to be one of your interviewers that day. During the interview, I asked you 2 questions. The first was what you thought of us interviewers, and the second was whether you had a girlfriend. You lied on both questions. Anna's words brought back a memory. I remembered those questions. At the time, I thought the interviewer was strange for asking such things, but I had no memory of her face. I was so nervous that day I didn't dare make eye contact with any of the interviewers. Even though I tried to stay calm and look straight ahead, my eyes wouldn't focus. My gaze was just a blur. During the interview, I really was single. I met Daisy on a blind date after that. By the time I completed my onboarding a month later, Daisy and I had just gotten together. At the time, I thought I had hit the jackpot with both my career and my love life. I never imagined that a simple twist of fate had made Anna think I was a liar. When it all clicked, I laughed out loud. "So, Ms. Winters, was it love at first sight?" Anna mumbled a quiet hum. Hearing her confirm it, my mood soared. I shamelessly pressed on. "Then why didn't you pursue me? You already had a girlfriend at the time." "I don't get involved in other people's relationships." I nodded in agreement. "But you didn't pursue me after I broke up with her either. Are you sure about that?" I racked my brain but couldn't think of a single thing she had done that could be considered pursuing me. In fact, she had mostly just given me a hard time. "The day after I found out you broke up, didn't I have breakfast delivered to you? Only to watch you throw it in the trash with my own eyes. So that was it." I had wondered why Anna's delivery had ended up on my desk, but I was too scared to ask. Turned out she had ordered it specifically for me. "Then why didn't you say anything? I have my pride, you know. I thought you threw it away on purpose." I burst out laughing. I never knew that the decisive powerhouse Anna had this side to her. Seeing me so happy, Anna turned to face me, her eyes burning into mine. So, do you really want to pretend today never happened? Yes. Okay, fine. Of course not. On my first day back at work, Anna generously treated the entire department to dinner. During the meal, she made 2 announcements. The first was that she was transferring out of our department to work in another one. The second was that she and I were officially together. My colleagues all looked like they had just been hit with the biggest gossip bomb of the year. Only Owen was completely calm, as if he had known all along. Later, he sat down next to me and whispered, "After you and Daisy broke up, the boss contacted me privately and asked me to help her find out what was going on with you. She wanted to pursue you. That really happened?" I couldn't believe Owen had kept such a huge secret. "Then why didn't you tell me?" Owen stuck out his tongue. "Are you kidding? If I ruined her plan with her temper, do you think my life would have been easy? I knew some things were too coincidental. That day I asked you to get seafood, you said you were busy. Later, I ran into the boss at the restaurant. You tipped her off, didn't you?" "Yep." "And when I came back from Miami, you told her too?" "Yep." Owen nodded enthusiastically and then revealed something else I didn't know. "Actually, when you went to Miami, the boss was going to follow you. She had already booked her ticket, but something urgent came up at work and she couldn't get away." I turned and looked at Anna, who was surrounded by colleagues toasting her. My heart swelled with emotion. Owen patted my shoulder and said earnestly, "You can tell she really cares about you. Don't mess it up." After dinner, Anna and I had both been drinking. She was about to call for a ride, but I stopped her. We walked hand in hand down the brightly lit street, a faint smile always playing on Anna's lips. "Are you this happy just to be with me, Ms. Winters?" I teased her, and she pulled me into an embrace. "I've waited so long for this dream to come true. Of course I'm happy." I suddenly sighed and pouted. "But you're still hiding things from me." Anna leaned in and kissed me on the lips, smiling. "Owen told you everything at dinner, didn't he?" Since she'd seen through my act, I dropped it and nodded. "Yeah, and he had a lot of good things to say about you, too. Then I'll have to give him a promotion and a raise." I rolled my eyes and continued my questioning. "So, is there anything else you're hiding from me?" Anna hesitated for a moment. "Actually, there is one more thing. I was just asking casually. I didn't expect there to actually be something." My interest was immediately piqued. "What is it?" Anna looked conflicted. "Are you sure you want to know right now?" "Yes." "No regrets?" "No regrets." Anna glanced at me, a hint of helplessness in her eyes. The next second, she pulled a blue velvet box from her coat pocket. As if sensing what was about to happen, my heart began to pound. Anna opened the box. Inside, a simple yet elegant men's ring lay nestled in the center. She looked at me, slowly knelt down on one knee, and when she spoke, her voice trembled slightly. "James, will you marry me?" My nose stung, and I bit my lip hard, feeling like this was all a beautiful dream. "Anna, but we just got together. Wasn't this too fast? Was she really this sure?" Anna's voice was choked with emotion. "I almost had to watch you marry someone else. For me, this has been long enough." She was right. If Daisy had shown up that day, Anna and I would never have had our now. I nodded, no longer hesitating, and held out my left hand. She slowly slipped the ring onto my ring finger, stood up, and on that brilliantly lit street, we shared a deep, passionate kiss. Later, I asked her why she had asked if I would regret it. Anna sighed. "I was planning a more romantic proposal, but you were just too impatient. Knowing what I had missed made me feel a little regretful." I comforted myself. Everything happens for a reason. Anna shook her head and smiled. This was all part of the plan.